Welcome to the Work Rate Movement YouTube channel. My name is Daniel Ajuka. I'm the founder of the Work Rate Movement. Today I'm joined with T.S.K music, Tendo Kimuli. Welcome, Tendo.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, Tendo is a blogger, a musician, a hockey coach, and in my opinion, a very, very good husband. So,
I'm crying. That threw me off.
But yeah, no, I've known Tendo from nursery days. We go way back. Since I was 5 years old. In fact, whenever the school holidays were around, my parents used to drop me off at his house, and I just remember somersaulting and chapatis from Auntie Jane. Shout out to her. But no, those are good times. We've always crossed roads, so we went to the same primary school, secondary school, and university. So
yeah, it was really weird as well how it happened, isn't it? Because we went to the same primary school, but that wasn't intentional, and then somehow ended up at the same secondary school, and like that wasn't intentional, and then upper as well. So it's almost like we're meant to be in each other's lives.
Yeah. So without further ado, without delving too much into your story, Tendo, so tell us a little bit about yourself and any interesting facts about yourself.
So as Daniel's already mentioned, my name's Tendo, 22 years old. Currently studying at the University of East London. I'm studying social work. With the aim of hopefully becoming a social worker one day. Interesting fact, one I always say is that I used to have brown teeth like when I was younger, because I used to eat like bare sweets. Like to the point
I remember that. I remember that.
No, I think it's because I used to drink a lot of milk. So like I drank milk out of the bottle till I was like 5 or something like that, which I don't really have any business drinking out of a bottle at 5 years old. So I think it was because of I used to hold it in my mouth a lot. So it just caused my teeth, my baby teeth to like decay. I had to get bare teeth taken out. Yeah. Fun fact. That's a fun fact.
Fun fact. I remember you went for a silver tooth one time.
Yeah. I had 2 silver teeth. That was like, people used to love that back in the day.
Yeah. Wow. Good times. So what was your upbringing like, Tendo?
So I was born in Camberwell, grew up mostly in Croydon, to be honest, like from up till like 5. I was living in Pollard Hill, which is like in between sort of Croydon, like Norbury, Thornton Heath, like sort of area. And pretty much did most of my growing up in Croydon. Went to school there. Was fortunate enough to go to a good school in Croydon. It's called Whitgift School, which was a private school there, and that I guess just brought me like a lot of opportunities to do like loads of different things and have like really cool experiences. So my family's Ugandan as well, so I grew up in amongst like Ugandan sort of community. I felt like I had quite a good upbringing, like pretty good like support network and stuff around me. So
cool stuff. So what sports did you grow up playing?
From like primary school days, like I was always like really quick. So like in like my year, like I was always like one of like the athletic ones. Then when I went to Whitgift, obviously like every boy like wants to play football like when they're younger. So I did play football for quite a bit. Yeah. I played football for quite a bit. And to be fair, like there was a point, like I remember being in year 7, because I think because of the type of school that I went to, like it drew like a lot of, or this type of school we went to, obviously drew like a lot of
plenty fish, plenty talent.
Like loads of talent and on the sporting front. So it was very much like from my primary school going into secondary school, it was like I was going from being a big fish in a small pond to being a small fish in a very big pond. So I was thinking, like, I'm going to get into the football team, blah, blah, blah. Like these times I'm there and there's like Chelsea, Crystal Palace, like Charlton Academy.
In abundance.
So I think that dream got kind of crushed. Like I did still try and stick at it in year 7. And like there was a point where like, I'd be playing in the playground and I'm thinking, like I'm actually like rubbing, like I'm doing all right, but no, it very much stopped. But then I started playing hockey whilst I was there. Picked up the stick for the first time in year 6, but I never really liked the sport that much because the way our school was, you had to do certain sports like in each term. So like from like September to December, the main sport was rugby. Then after that, it was hockey. And then in the summer, it was like cricket, athletics, tennis. And normally I did athletics in the summer. But when it came to hockey, like I was just like this sport's so weird. Like, what am I doing? Like, I've never played this sport in my life, sort of thing. But then, wait, I feel like I'm just going off on a tangent. What was the question? I want to make sure I answer the question.
Yeah, just what sports did you play growing up?
So sports. Like okay, cool. Let me stick at sports. So that basically hockey, and then in the summer athletics. I quite enjoyed athletics quite a bit as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So what made you love hockey? Because obviously you represented England at one point at the under-16 level.
So I was fortunate enough to play for England at under 18 and under the 21 level. When did I? What was the question again? When did I?
So what made you love the sport?
Oh yeah, what made me love? Yeah, so obviously like they kind of forced us to play because like playing, we had like game sessions and all of that was compulsory. But then like I had a friend, his name was Charlie. Like unfortunately he passed away like when we were in year 9, like when I was 14. But like he initially got me into the sport, like, and because we were really good friends, he was just like, oh, like just come down to training one time. And like he was a very, very good hockey player. He was just like, come down to training one time. So I was like, oh, cool, like, let me just go because like do my boy a favor. He doesn't have to beg me again, sort of thing. And I went for the session, and I remember the first session that I went for because I remember like I did certain skill, and then like the coach, his name was Nigel De Cruz, like he stopped the session. He was just like, oh, everyone stop there. You see what Tendo just did? Like that was really good because he turned this way and he was able to, like, he just basically like said like why what I did was really good. Like, it was a very simple move, but like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to get to a certain position. But like I think that point was quite special for me because it was like, oh right, like I actually did something that was actually quite good and like yeah. And I think off the back of that I kept going, and then actually no, I think it was even that session he was like, I'm gonna play you this weekend. And I remember, so this was in year 6, and we were playing against a school called Parkside that weekend. And I remember we won 1-0, but like those moments were like, I guess they kind of just stand out for me because I just felt like really special, the fact that I did something good. And I think from then on, that's when like the love began to grow for the sport. Yeah.
Oh, cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was in that boat once I joined Whitgift in year 7. I was the fastest in Wandsworth. I remember sports day, I was carrying last. So it was just like, what am I doing? Like athletics, I was thinking, yo, I could be the next Usain Bolt. I was guessing myself up in year 6.
Trust me.
I'm just seeing all these guys. Yeah, I'm from Cambridge. I said, oh, is it? Yeah, let's race. I'm getting left. I'm like, okay, so I'm not really as good as I thought, you know?
Yeah, it's very humbling. It's very, very humbling.
Yeah. But I can definitely relate to you know, that instance where you're talking about the sports. I'm at Whitgift and just finding your place and whatnot. So how was it playing hockey as a minority? Because obviously you've traveled quite a bit playing hockey up and down the nation. How was it playing as a minority?
So I'm still playing at the moment, to be fair. And I guess it was interesting because of the type of school that we went to, because hockey is very much like a private school sport. So you hardly find any state schools that play the sports, when there's probably none. Most people that went to state schools that play hockey probably got in through like their hockey clubs, like their parents would have played, or maybe they would have had a friend, and then most of their hockey's done like through like a hockey club. But in terms of schools, it's pretty much all private schools. But because of the type of school that Whitgift was, it was a private school in the middle of Croydon, and when you look at the sort of demographic of Croydon, it's you've got like a lot of like Black and minority like ethnicities that live in Croydon. So because of that, obviously the school probably had like a lot more Black people. than any other private school. So like all the people that I knew growing up, all the black people I knew growing up playing hockey were the ones that went to Whitgift. Any other school we went to, there was only one other school we played against where I came across one other black guy. But I think once someone can kind of look at that and be like, and see it like as a very like negative thing, but and I guess it is it's something that does need to be addressed. But I kind of saw it as like a really cool thing, and I guess it's what made our experience or my experience like even more special, because it's like we were all in it together, sort of thing. And like we'd go and just like beat all these teams and stuff like that. But yeah, I personally enjoyed it. I think the time when it became challenging was when I went to uni, because then now obviously all of us are now on sort of like different paths. And like when I studied at Loughborough, like I was the only black person in the hockey club, like in the men's team. There was like one other black girl in the women's side, but that's out of like 5 men's teams with at least sort of like 15 to 20 players. And like I was the only black guy. So it definitely did come with its challenges. But not enough to stop me playing. I think it was something that I held like with pride, because even when I'd go to like family members or like I'd meet people and they'd be like, oh, so what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I play hockey. Like I'd be like the only black person they know that plays the sport. So it's like whenever people hear hockey, it's like they automatically like think of me, sort of thing, because I'm the only person that they know that plays the sport. So I quite enjoy that personally.
I mean, I played hockey from year 7 to year 9. I was forced to play hockey just like you. I just didn't turn out to be gifted at hockey. And the hockey coaches were a little bit more aggressive, and they just kind of like, you're not good, just get out, basically. That's what they said to me. But I enjoyed carrying the hockey stick. I grew up in Pollard, so I enjoyed holding the hockey stick around town. And because no one else was holding the hockey stick, it was like, oh, yo, we do, what's that? I was like, I play hockey at my school. It's like, oh, really? So I totally relate to her. So now, obviously as well, how did you move into music?
So I come from like quite a musical family. So like my granddad was a composer. So my family are from Uganda, as I said earlier. So my granddad, he was a composer. And so he pretty much taught like my dad and his siblings like different instruments and like mostly how to sing. So my dad sings, he used to sing a lot. He still sings now, to be fair. But music is very much something that's in my family's blood. Like whenever we go to Uganda, so my family name is Seru Kenya. And like whenever we go to Uganda, like people kind of know the Seru Kenyas as like the musical family. So I feel like it was something that I could never really run away from. But it's interesting because my dad's eldest brother, he was quite similar to me in terms of his like approach and mindset towards music, because when he was growing up, he was also very athletic as well. Like he was really into football, and music was always that thing that he was running away from. And that was kind of the same for me as well. Like once I started to get like really good at hockey, I knew that that's something that I wanted to like really like hone in on and like try to be like the best I can be in. But I guess like with like the sort of like perceived pressure and peer pressure of being in school and stuff, I've always known that I could sing, or I've always known I could hold a note, put it that way. So when I started at Whitgift, I was actually in like the choristers, which is like school choir. And I ended up dropping out because I just didn't like it didn't really come across as like a good look, like singing in like soprano with like a bunch of other boys, like versus like running out on the pitch, like playing rugby or football. Like, I guess as a boy, you kind of wanted playing sport, like it's more like the manly sort of thing to do. So I think for that reason, I just kind of suppressed the whole music thing. But I'd always like at home, like I went through a phase where I'd play the bass quite a bit. I I've had piano lessons, and then even once I stopped those lessons, like I'd always go on YouTube, like learning how to play different songs and stuff. And I'd always think to myself, but then I think it kind of reached a point where I knew that, like, because music is a gift that like God has blessed me with. So I'm a Christian, and I believe that like God, all the gifts that I have, like God has blessed me with them. And I knew that it's important for me to like make the most out of all these gifts that God has given me. So rather than like trying to suppress that because of like embarrassment or wondering like, or caring too much what other people would think, I just reached a point where I was just like, you know what, if God's given me this gift, like let me make the most out of it, and let me actually try and improve and like cultivate that. So yeah, it just reached me getting to that point, like of not really caring too much about what people would think, like if they saw me singing or like playing an instrument or whatever. So yeah, that was like cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of your dad's music. LIC. Come and get this party started. Throw your hands up in the air. So I wish I could sing, man. But yeah, I'm a fan of your dad's music. Every now and then I'll be banging it. My parents were all fans, man. So the good old days.
Yeah.
So you're now a university student studying in London. How has your university experience been? You've been through quite a few challenges, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah. So initially, I said I was studying at the University of East London currently, but before studying here, I was studying at Loughborough, and I was studying economics at Loughborough. And Loughborough was a place that I definitely like always had aspirations to be, because I guess from when I was in school, I'd always recognized that Loughborough was like really renowned for like the athletes that it produces like across the board. So like even like at the time anyway, at least a lot of like the hockey players that had been through like the GB program and gone to like Olympics and stuff had all kind of passed through like the Loughborough program. So like I was very keen to kind of like have that experience as well, and mostly to kind of so I could like put myself in the best position, because like going into uni, like I had aspirations to like continue playing for Great Britain and represent Great Britain at like tournaments and stuff like that. So yeah, I felt like Loughborough would be the best place for me to go and do that. And so I studied economics there for 2 years. But when I look back, I think the main reason why I chose to study economics in particular was because I just saw it as a degree that other people would rate. Like if I ended up graduating from Loughborough with a degree in economics, just like, oh yeah, like he's doing decent, like sort of thing. And I think
and that's kind of intertwined in the African culture, right?
Yeah, as in, luckily enough, like my parents didn't really put like that much pressure on me to say like you have to do economics.
Great.
I think for me it was very much more like a personal sort of thing, because to kind of take it back a couple of years as well, throughout like my time in school, I was never really deemed as like that academic. And I guess because the type of school we went to was like, if you weren't that academic, then I guess you weren't deemed as like that smart or that like intellectual, which I don't think is the case. That just because someone isn't an academic doesn't mean that they don't have like a brain, essentially. But I think throughout my time in school, it kind of felt like that. And so I was always in like the lower sets, and I had to repeat year 12 as well. So I felt like I wanted to just do something to prove to everyone that I can do something that's like academic and I can perform well. But I ended up failing my second year studying economics at Loughborough. I did find it challenging, but I think that with the course that I'm doing now, studying social work, I just had to be true to myself and true to like where my passions lie, because ultimately like I'm the only one that's going to be like going through it. And I think it took me having gone through like all these experiences of failing and retaking years to kind of focus more on like what I want to do and what I'm passionate about, as opposed to pursuing like a degree or qualification so that I can show others and say, I have this. So like, I think, yeah, all those sort of failures have definitely shaped like me and who I am and like how I deal with failure and how I get back up, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's sound. That's real sound, man. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to do what you are doing now, especially with your coaching and your music? Someone that wants to go down the path you've gone down. What advice would you give to them?
I think fairly similar to what I've just said, to be honest. Like, just if you have something that you're passionate about and you really want to pursue, just keep being true to yourself and keep trusting in the process, because I think it can be quite easy to get your head wound up in how certain ends will meet. Like, you can have like certain targets that you want to achieve, and sometimes it can become like quite overwhelming to think about how like those targets will be met and if they'll be met in the order that like you want them to, etc. But I think if you just trust in and believe in the process, and for me as well, like having my faith in God, also trusting in Him as well, like I think that definitely helps me to keep going and like remain consistent. Like, even if I do fall down and like at something, like that helps me to get back up and like keep going. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Sound advice. So what's next for TSK? What can we expect in the coming days, months, year?
Yeah. More music, definitely. I won't talk too much about that. But I've got a podcast that I started.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. I've got a podcast that I started as well, called #Rooted and Established, which is basically, I wanted to share conversations that I've had with people who are pursuing their goals, because I think for myself as well, with all the experience that I've had with like trying to pursue hockey at one point, I think a lot of that was stemmed in wanting to do something that like other people would deem as credible. And even with regards to like what I was saying about like my choices for studying economics at university, it was kind of all stemmed in wanting to do something that other people would look at and be like, yeah, like that's really great. But just as much as it's sick, someone going to top university and getting a first class degree, or someone going to an Olympic Games, it's just as good someone who looks after their sister every day, or a parent who has to raise their child, sort of thing. Like, those are all really, like, to be able to do those things consistently is actually like something that should be praised. And so with my podcast, I kind of just wanted to share more sort of like ordinary stories, and not stories of people that are like in the limelight doing something that's like spectacular, but kind of I wanted to do it with the hope of encouraging people to just continue making the most out of what they have.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And that's what the work rate movement is about. A manifestation and the discovery of your purpose, of your work. You know, and the thing is, with work and purpose, it's so vast. It doesn't have to be music, it doesn't have to be sport, it doesn't have to be acting. It could be, like you just said, raising up your daughter. It could be you know, a venture in life. So I definitely do support that. So you guys go check out Rooted and Established. Did I get that right?
Yeah. #Rooted and Established.
Yeah. #Rooted and Established, the podcast. You can find it on Apple, right?
And Spotify and SoundCloud.
And Spotify. Apple, Spotify, and SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So I'll put the links down below to all those. And yeah, I think we're done here, TSK.
That's cool, man.
Are there any more things you want to add?
No, thank you for having me, man. Like, I love all that you're doing with the work rate movement, and yeah, man, I wish you all the best with everything you do going forward.
So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Take care, guys.